Are you having some troubles learning English? Do you want some more motivation and inspiration? If so, I want you to meet my friend Dan. He is a fellow English speaker. He's been speaking English for several years. He is also a diver, a snowboarder, a skydiver, a pianist, and a paraclimber, and an English teacher. And he does all of that absolutely blind. He's got a channel on YouTube called Laid Back American English. You can find it in the description below. In this video, I've got a list of questions for Dan, and we're going to go through them one by one. Let's get started. Okay, so Dan, first question. Why did you want to learn English?
Well, first off, I would like to emphasize that English was never my first language. I was born and raised in Russia and Moscow, and my first language is Russian. Why I decided to learn English? Well, when I was a kid, I was really curious. I'm still curious, but when I was a kid, I was curious about languages, specifically about English, because, I was born and raised with the songs in English, as lots of people. So when I was 9 years old, I convinced my mom to put me to an English class, and that's how it started. Then I had a tutor, but I didn't have a passion for English back then. I was just, studying, learning English, that's it. And when I got 18, I don't really know how it happened. I just instantly got passionate for English, and then specifically for American English. That's my story.
So you said that it was music that attracted you to English.
I think so, yeah.
Can you remember like a song?
Well, lots of songs. Like there were different compilations in 90s, because I was born in early 2000s. So basically we had a lot of compact discs from 90s, for example romantic collections that were all in English. Then I was listening to Michael Jackson that time. We had the CD too. Also we had Modern Talking, it's German band as I know, but they speak English, all of them. Sandra, and also the same stuff. So yeah, like everything is about English.
Okay. Do you feel like that's one of the reasons why you wanted to learn English and not another language like Italian or French?
I think so, because I've almost never heard Italian. Plus, my mom, I asked her about some words from the songs, lyrics. She would tell some of them because she speaks basic English, and that's why I got interested specifically in English.
And why American English specifically and not British English?
Well, when I got 18, I started, diving into these topics of differences between American English and British English. Before that, I didn't really think about it, but after that, I just started diving into American English, and I realized that I like it more and more. And that's funny, because that's how I started diving into American history, because it all started with language to me. So I started trying speaking American English, and then I got into American history and then culture, and then everything happened.
Okay, so it just wasn't, you weren't really attracted to British culture, you just found the American history more exciting.
No, it was just the language that fascinated me first, and this language just encouraged me to move forward to American history, and then I find it exciting because it's a new land that was colonized by others, and then they got independent.
Okay, Dan, so we're going to move on to question number 2. So what kept motivating you to continue learning English?
So actually it was passion was the thing that has been motivating me still, And even though, some people would say that it's not right because, I can go away really quickly, and actually it's been with me since 2016. So I'm still passionate about it. I literally can speak English like, 25/8. So yeah.
So did you just have the motivation from the beginning and the motivation just kept going? I mean, did at any point the motivation to learn the language suffer? Did you have a drop in motivation, or was it just continued?
Well, at first my motivation as a kid was I was just curious. It was just curiosity. But second was the passion. Since 18, and it's always been with me. It's always been around. So it never gone away.
So would you say it was like a snowball, once you started it just kept building and building and building?
Yeah, but like to me, like snowboarding is...
Snowball, I mean.
Snowball?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Exactly.
So you never had a drop in motivation?
No.
Wow. That's hard to believe. So first it was a curiosity of the language, and after
I was just
that...
curious. It's not like I really wanted to dive into these homeworks. And
yeah. And you then it was American history, you would say, and then it was music.
No, it was American English after that, because I was learning British English. I went to British courses here in Moscow.
Okay, so perhaps potentially it was like different things which within the language that kept you interested.
Yeah. There were like different things, but everything started with English. When I got passionate about English, I started diving into American culture, watching movies. I really got into movies, because before that I wasn't really into movies at all. Like, I don't know, is it due to my blindness? I don't think so, but like, when I was a kid I wasn't really into movies, so I wasn't interested in movies at all. Movies didn't attract me.
Okay, but then you became interested in movies because you could understand them because of the language, and so like doors kept opening for you, and you
I just really wanted to dive into this culture, yeah. That's why I got interested in movies.
Okay, so alright. What is it about the American culture that so like attracts you into that world?
Well, I love many things. I love small talks, and I love how, loud and laid back Americans are. Just, to me, like a sense of freedom when you're laid back and loud, and you express your feelings, your positive emotions. When I came to the U.S. in 2017, I went to the U.S. before, but I was a kid and wasn't really interested in anything. But when I came there in 2017, it was, I was a totally different person, because I was already into English. I was willing to absorb culture as well as the language, and I really, it taught me a lot, especially like the first trip. It taught me that, actually changed completely my emotions, because before I got there, I really wanted to be like my dad in terms of emotions. Like, he never gets overexcited. He is always like, everything's okay. It's not okay, he would tell us, but if it's okay, he would just okay. He would never say like, wow, that's cool. And when I heard it like from Americans, it was like, wow, it's like it brings more positive vibes, so why not use it here?
Wow, okay, so just that
changed,
difference
yeah.
of like emotional expression that you really loved.
Well, yeah, it's probably because of mentality also, yeah.
Yeah.
Positive attitude, I guess.
Okay, Dan, let's move on to question 3.
Mm-hmm.
What is your advice for other learners of English?
Oh, first of all, it's a bumpy road, meaning that there are some challenges that you have to encounter and overcome. You will definitely do it. It's just a matter of time and patience. And you better stick to movies and songs as well as read books to learn different aspects of English. And if you want to learn speaking, of course, it's about movies, it's about songs, because I know a lot of people who just learn English by playing games, I don't know, listening to songs, watching to movies, cartoons. So yeah, that's it. That's my advice. Just keep going. Never look back.
All right, great, thank you. Number 4.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to know, how does being blind affect your learning?
Learning English learning abilities?
Mm-hmm.
I think it does. Like, I mean, okay, so when I was a kid, my mom would do a lot of work. I mean, she would put everything, she would print everything in Braille so I could read. I went to inclusive group with everyone. I was the only blind person in the classroom, and yeah, I use Braille. Now I don't use Braille just because I don't see point of using that. Like, I mean, I can just play cards with Braille, some board games, but not learning languages. But I guess just because of my level. Like, I mean, if I want to learn another language from scratch, from the beginning, I would use Braille probably, because it's just easier, it's just faster.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I don't think it affects. Like, I mean,
But so Braille wouldn't help your speaking, though.
no, I wouldn't. Definitely wouldn't. Wouldn't help listening as well as speaking, which I believe the main factors, the main aspects of English are speaking and listening.
Right.
First of all.
Do you kind of wish that can you write Braille?
Yes, I can do it.
You can write Braille, okay, and you read through Braille.
I can do it, but pretty slow because I don't have a lot of practice.
Okay, and is there a different system in Russian? So do we have Russian Braille and English Braille?
Yeah, we have Japanese Braille. In English, there are 2 types of Braille actually. There are, we call it contractions, as I remember. So it's a Braille, you know, you can just shorten some words there, you know, certain combination of dots means that it's just, you know, like the one word. In Russian we don't have it, unfortunately. We should have this because it's, you know, Braille is a massive stuff. Because have you seen Braille book? It's like, it's crazy, like that thick.
I haven't seen it.
How can you carry around it? I don't know.
So what about reading on digital devices?
Yes, I do. So I use screen reader, and also I have a Braille display actually for a laptop. So if I want to use Braille, which I don't, but I have it. If I, you know, if in 10 years I want to use Braille, I would probably get it. So the dots appear according to the information on the screen.
But how can they appear on the touchpad?
Just connect it to USB.
Wow, so it's like a flat surface, but the dots kind of raise up.
Yeah, they do.
Wow, that's very
Really
interesting.
good thing. That's very expensive, but yeah, have it.
Yeah, okay.
Just in case.
But mostly you've learned English through listening and speaking.
Well, yeah. I mean, after these courses, I went to this extracurricular school for 5 years, as I remember. And then I had a personal tutor, and then I got this passion. And I left this tutor because he didn't really speak American English, and he would teach me British expressions, and I was like, come on, why do you say dance? We say dance. He was like, no. I was like, come on. I didn't realize that I was American English back then. I just heard it in songs.
Okay.
And moreover, like even British people, when they sing, they use American pronunciation. Like, you know, Ed Sheeran, then we started dance, right? You heard it like this.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I told him. Well, he was like, you know, the pretty he was a senior man who spoke, he was a professor of different languages, French, German, and English. He spoke perfect British English, but in the UK, as they say, no one understood him because, he spoke very old. Like he would say pupils instead of students. Like your grandpa probably would say that, right?
I guess so. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to question number 5.
Sure.
So, what do you think is the most interesting part of the language? So what I mean by that is, is there a certain area or item within American English that you just find that component of it super interesting?
It's a good question though. I guess pronunciation is pretty interesting because it's laid back in terms of, yes, like it's relaxed, but at the same time we have lots of aspects. I love that American English, it sounds like a flow of words, so nothing really separates them. It's like, word flow like a river. But we have different kinds of T. We have stop T, like in the word important. We have silent T like in the word internet, or we have flap T like in the word water. So the pronunciation is, I love the pronunciation, love the R, letter R. It sounds really like, cat purring to me, like, it's like music to my ears. I mean, I just love how soft it is. So that's it. Yeah, I guess pronunciation is the aspect.
Okay, so what do you think about the pronunciation of other languages like Italian or Spanish or French?
Well, as for other languages, I just don't get this vibe of a word flow, because there are some certain things that can prevent us from this stuff. For example, rolling R's, like in Spanish, R, they don't say R, they say R. And in French it's like different type of R. And other words, also in the US, we use reductions. Like we, most of the time we wouldn't say to, we would say te, like to, as an infinitive. So because of reductions and because of, Americans tend to be pretty lazy when it comes to languages, when it comes to English, especially because we just, Americans invented a lot of stuff such as reductions, for example, just to say, not like less, necessarily less, but just say it as short as possible.
Like as fast, right?
Yeah, as fast as possible and as short as possible.
Okay. All right, so I want to move on to question number 6.
Mm-hmm.
So, can you tell us any fun facts
About
the language, like something we might not know about American English? Something like a fun fact that you thought was very interesting when you learnt it.
a fun fact that I learned is very interesting to me. Well, like the funniest fact for me was that I discovered that there are some things in grammar that are different in British English and American English. Not only irregular verbs, but also, like irregular verbs are also different. Like we can say get, got, gotten, as I remember right. In the UK we don't say gotten, right? But they used to say gotten, as I know, because I read this research of the Shakespeare stuff, his poems, and I actually read some of his poems, and he really used some of this grammar, including these irregular verbs. So that's, I guess, the most the funniest stuff that I learned about American English versus British English, like what. That's a fun fact.
Do you know any more about Shakespeare?
Well, I've read some of his poems, but I'm not really into him because like it's very hard to understand. It's very like some words are really outdated, and I know that I've talked to many Americans when it comes to Shakespeare at their high school or middle school. All of them, just they don't want to do that. They want to flee the school, whatever. Just don't touch this topic of Shakespeare because the language is very different from what Americans naturally speak.
Okay. And we'll move on to the next question. I like this question. Where has your English come most in handy? Or when has your English come most in handy?
Most in handy, it's traveling, of course, because I'm a traveler. I've been to around 30 countries-ish now to this date, and just language. English really brings us together. It connects us. You can get a lot of friends. You can get a lot of relationships, and just work opportunities. And to me, I really love making friends. I'm super duper extrovert. I love talking to people, and learn different cultures. And English is, because it's universal language in the world now, and that's why it lets us connect with almost anyone, with most people, I guess.
Can you tell us like a specific story about something that happened where English was extremely useful to you?
You mean traveling?
Yeah.
Well, I get around, like basically because I'm blind, I should talk to people even more. Like I should get some information and how to get here, how to get there, just different stuff, and that's I guess when it's like necessary for me, for a blind person to speak a little bit of English if he does solo traveling, which I do. But just like it's like basic stuff, because last year I started learning Spanish. I already can survive in Spain by this stuff, by some words that I got. Just about practice, I know that, but the thing is that I just don't. I don't have to speak Spanish. Usually I speak English in Spain, but for example, when I went to Madrid, I have to speak Spanish. So I have to speak Spanish, and that's the thing. So I believe that that's a necessary thing to know if you're a blind person, and if you want to travel alone, you should know English. Of course, like with modern technologies, there's a special device. It's called a time kettle. Have you heard of it?
I have not.
So it's basically a headphone. It's not a promotion, by the way. It's a headphone.
It could be.
It could be, yeah, but they don't pay us.
We'll put a link in the description below.
If they pay us, yeah, we're gonna talk to them. Okay, so this is basically what they do. It's 2 headphones, and you put them into your ears and my ears, your ear and my ear, and we can hear each other and translate each other in real time.
Mm-hmm.
Which is Google Translate can do the same, but it's just harder. It takes longer time, much more time.
It's an interesting device.
Real cool.
So traveling, so like specific situation, like getting around the city is when a different language comes most in handy.
I think so, yeah.
Okay,
but
so
also if you want to read different topics and different news and different books, to become aware first, like to become aware of them before others, and to, in some cases, to watch the original, because original, for example, if you take news, it's always better in terms of they can deliver information they want to deliver. If you check the translation, it can be like totally different. they can translate it whatever they want sometimes, and they can show the fragments that they want you to hear. So traveling, you were asking?
No, I was going to move on to the very last question, which I think you will like this question. Okay. How do you see yourself evolving? So this is about your plans in the future. How do you see yourself growing, developing, evolving? How do you see yourself progressing in your future years?
Well, I'm an English teacher. As I told everyone, I'm passionate about English, so now I have some students. I do private classes, and I'm learning a special course, TESOL course, that will let me become a certified teacher of American English around the world, and I can apply for different jobs around the world, and teach different people, different countries. Just, it's also networking. We never know where life takes us, so like, who knows, like I can get different friends, and who knows what is gonna happen like between us. Maybe like they need my help once, or I'll need their help, and we can just team up and go higher in this life, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely, I absolutely know what you mean. Yeah, it's a
set high goals. Yeah,
good philosophy
together.
And what about you in terms of the English language?
Well, in terms of my English language, I learn English anyway. Like, I don't take classes from people, but I learn myself because language develops. Maybe in the future, who knows? Maybe I'll organize something like a speaking club or something like that. We'll see where life takes me. How I'm just teaching, and I really love to teach later too, because it's my passion. I really love how it goes. I really love what I do, and I'm gonna go into it. So I'm really excited to see how it goes next.
Cool. Okay. And have you got any last words of inspiration or motivation for the viewers?
Well, just never stop if you want to learn English. Just use any opportunity. If you can travel, you can travel. If you don't travel, well, you can learn English at home. I have a few friends who did it the same way, and some of them even got rid of their accent, and they'd never been to English-speaking countries before. So this is really cool. That's what fascinates me. So if there's will, there's way. It's an American proverb. So if you really want to, to improve your speaking skills, you have to speak anyway. Like, you have to practice. It doesn't happen with just listening, with passive practice. So that's my final advice, I guess.
Cool. All right. So thank you very much, Dan.
Thank you so much for having me.
And guys who you've been watching, if you want to check out Dan on his channel, it's called Laid Back American English. Again, the link is in the description below. We'll see you in the next video.